यम नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जायामुदीरये नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 16, Text 50. Tasyaiva te amos tanavas trilokyam shanta ashanta uta mudayoha शान्तः प्रियस ते ही अनुनावितुं सतं स्तातुस च ते धर्मपरिप्सये हते तस्यैव ते अमुष्तस्वत्रिलोक्यं शान्त शान्त उत मुदायो नाय शान्त प्रियस्ते हि अनुनाविष्टुं शान्तं स्ततुश्च ते धर्म परिप्सये हतः तस्य हिव ते अमुस्तनवस्त्रिलोकं शान्त अशान्त उत मुदायो नाह शान्तप्रियस्ते हि अधुनावितुं शतं सतुश्च ते धर्म परिप्रश्ये हता तस्य हि ते अमुष्ततावस्त्रिलोक्यं शान्त शान्त उत मुदायो नाह शान्तप्रियस्ते हि अनुनाविष्टुं शतं शताश्चु ते धर्म परिपर्श्येतः Matajis. Tasya, of him, eva, indeed, te, of you, amuha, this, tanava, material bodies, trilokyam, throughout the three worlds, shanta, peaceful, in the mode of goodness, ashanta, not peaceful, in the mode of passion, uta, and also, mudayonaya, born in ignorant species, shanta, the peaceful persons in the mode of goodness, priya, dear, te, to you, he, certainly, aduna, now, avitum, to protect, satam, of the saintly devotees, statu, who are present, cha, and te, of you, dharma, they are principles of religion, paripasya, with the desire of maintaining, ihata, who is acting. Translation by Srila Prabhupada, translation by disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Therefore, all material bodies throughout the three worlds, those that are peaceful in the mode of goodness, those that are agitated in the mode of passion, and those that are foolish in the mode of ignorance, all are your creations. Still, those living entities whose bodies are in mode of goodness are especially dear to you, and it is to maintain them and protect their religious principles that you are now present on the earth. Text 51, translation. At least once a master should tolerate an offense committed by his child or subject. O supreme peaceful soul, you should therefore forgive our foolish husband who did not understand who you are. Purport. Because of their extreme anxiety, in this verse, Kaliya's wife mentioned the same idea twice, that the Supreme Lord should kindly forgive their foolish husband. The Supreme Lord is Shanta Atma, the supreme peaceful soul, and therefore the Nagapatni suggested it would be proper for him to overlook at least this once the great offense committed by the ignorant Kaliya. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasyatya Deshatarine Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratvishe Namaha. Panchatattvaakmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So this continuation of our wonderful sadhana of reading Srimad Bhagavatam, we have reached this very, very interesting chapter, very famous chapter. We see so many beautiful deities in the form of Krishna, Kaliya, all over the world, right at our car, in the form of Nataraj, is dancing on Kaliya. Radha Vrindavan Natavar, that's when the pose was when he was dancing on Kaliya. So like that, it is a very famous, Krishna Kaliya is a very famous deity. And we are here reading these very special prayers by the Nagapatnis. Srimad Bhagavatam, as we understand, is a very, very amazing scripture, a scripture which demands tremendous faith and surrender. It is in the scripture that we, if we analyze, and as I was thinking, we have elephants praying, we have a human being with a face of a goat praying, we have cows praying. So, you can imagine animals are praying and we are reading their prayers. So it requires tremendous amount of faith to really believe all that we hear, that personalities like a cow or an elephant can make such eloquent prayers, because these are just not ordinary beings, they are just having a form of an animal, but they are very, very divine beings. But that's what Bhagavatam teaches us, to be beyond what you see and to see through your ears and not see through your eyes. What do you really see when you see an elephant? Just grotesqueness, just very gross personality. The way he walks, the way he eats, everything about him is very gross. But a very empowered elephant can make very subtle prayers in the form of Gajendra. That is Bhagavatam. So it teaches us to be beyond the senses. Adhokshaja, Krishna is one who cannot be conceived by the senses. So that's what Bhagavatam is all about. So that's why we hear these very uncommon things. And in this chapter we are having the wives of Kaliya. Kaliya was a very powerful serpent, and we can very easily deduce that even the wives of Kaliya would be serpents, most likely. So a female serpents, a group of female serpents are making prayers. Now if you talk this to the outside world that we are discussing prayers of female serpents every day for the last couple of weeks, it sounds strange. Female serpents offering prayers. At the most, the world outside, they offer prayers to serpents in a very low class of worship. They worship serpents, they worship mountains, things like that. But here we are discussing prayers offered by female serpents. In Hindi it is called Nagina. We have a different understanding of what Nagin means. We are very wrong. But here the divine empowered wives of, and they are making such amazing prayers. So we must understand Bhagavatam is something which requires a lot of faith to understand. Till the time a student of Bhagavatam has not developed enough faith, till till the time he will not really able to grasp or understand, or for that matter benefit from hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. So here this very, very empowered prayers of the Nagapatnis is there. And right in the first, in this prayer of text 50, this the verse that we read, it mentions that there are three types of human beings. Human beings are in three modes: mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. And it explained here that still those living entities whose bodies are in the mode of goodness are especially dear to you, O Krishna. So the Nagapatnis are, if you analyze these verses, as we connect this verse and the next verse that we read, you will find amazing scholarly deduction that they want to arrive at, they want to conclude to something. What has happened is, this is a powerful prayers where they are made, they glorified the Lord, and after enough glorification, they are now asking for, they are making a plea for mercy. That's the way we make prayers. Because we glorify the person, even in the material world. If you want to please somebody, obviously you start glorifying him, and then you say, so that's why many times in the devotee circles, when somebody starts glorifying you, we just ask, what do you want? What do you want from me? That's not the way it should be. But in the right way of prayers, the way we offer it to Krishna, that you plus glorify him, because Krishna is the person who is to be glorified. If you do it for others, it may not really work so well. But Krishna is completely beyond any faults. And we glorify him. And then we say, oh Krishna, you are so wonderful. Please accept my plea. So these Nagapatnis, you can imagine, they are in a very desperate situation. Here are the wives whose husband is almost on deathbed. Just imagine this situation. The husband is on the deathbed and the wife is praying to the doctor, please save him. Please save him. And the wife said, yes, he's a fallen person. Like many times when you go to the hospital, the husband has bad habits, is an alcoholic, is a smoker, and he has smoked and drunk all his life. He has destroyed his liver, he has got cancer, he is lying on a deathbed. The wife tells the doctor, we know, my dear doctor, we know that he has done all the faults. He has smoked all his life, he has consumed unlimited amount of alcohol, but still he is our husband. Please protect him if you can. Isn't it? That's the desperate situation of the wife. The wife, the way it is supposed to be and the way it is usually is always out there to protect the husband. In spite of unlimited faults of the husband, the wife is always there. Please, yes, we know he is at fault, but please save him. And that's what slowly, after all the glorification that they did in the last previous verses, they're putting this plea. In the verse 51, at least once a master should tolerate an offense committed by his child or subject. O supreme peaceful soul. So here in the previous verse, the word Shanta is coming again and again. Peaceful, Ashanta, or not peaceful, or in the mode of passion. So what is peaceful? We should understand, mode of goodness means you are in a peaceful situation. What does it really mean, peace? Does it mean the peace which is external? Externally somebody is very, very peaceful, but there might be a whole volcano erupting in his mind. You cannot judge the book by its cover, right? We say that. We cannot judge the book by its cover. You cannot judge externally a person to be peaceful or not to be peaceful just by his externals. What is peacefulness? And if I was just studying the Bhagavatam, and it's a very nice explanation that peacefulness is not something external. It means that it's all about sense control. A person is peaceful when he controls his mind and senses. Just think about it. If you have not controlled your mind and senses, you cannot be peaceful. We have so many ideas of peace in the world. Let there be peace all over. But till the time we do not train the people to control their mind and senses, it is simply a phantasmagoria idea. It is simply a utopian idea that there can be peace, but there cannot be any peace. Because till the time a person is not peaceful, is constantly wanting to hankering. And what is passion for that matter? If we talk about mode of goodness, then what is mode of passion? Mode of passion doesn't mean that you are running after some gross, either enjoyment through some gross sex life or through gross type of food and things like that. It simply means the hankering for pleasure is being passionate. So we must, if we want to talk about peaceful, and Krishna explains, the Nagapatis explain that Krishna, the people who are peaceful in the mode of goodness are very, very dear to Krishna, and they say that is the reason he is present on the earth planet now. Can you imagine this? What a very, very wonderful statement. So the mode of goodness, even though it might be material, it is a powerful way, a powerful step towards spirituality. And that's why it is very, very important to be in the mode of goodness, to be peaceful. So when you're talking about peace, we need to understand how to be peaceful. We need to control our senses, and that's what Krishna says in the Gita again and again. Till the time you do not control your senses, you are ashanta. The only way you can be shanta or peaceful is when you control your senses, control your mind. So what is a group of devotees? A sangam of devotees, what is it all about? It is not that it's simply a group of people who are religious and who are just, it's like a religious club of believers of God. It's not a club for socializing. It's a club, or it's association of people who are seriously wanting to learn to control their mind and senses, to be peaceful. That's why before we start, we are saying Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. It is not just external peace that we're talking about, but the mind should be shant. What is that? Antarik Shanti, Maya Shanti, what is that? Something like that, right? The mind is shant. Everything should be shant. If you want to understand God, we have to be peaceful, we have to be shant. And that is possible only if we are controlling your senses. So when you're talking about sense control, that is what we hear in the beginning of our Krishna consciousness. We come here with the understanding that yes, I have to control my senses, and by that I can be peaceful. But unfortunately, what happens many times, that in the process of controlling the senses, we get so passionate about achieving things on the guise of spirituality that the supposedly peaceful nature that we had when we came to Krishna consciousness is destroyed actually, and we become much more distracted and much more disturbed in our mind after practicing the process of Krishna consciousness, which is supposed to make us peaceful. Many times we experience this, that I was much peaceful when I was not a devotee. But now that I'm a devotee, is so much unrest is happening in our mind. Because what is the purpose of what we do and why we do? The purpose is very, very important. If the purpose in due course becomes name, fame, adoration and distinction, then be sure this process is going to make you much more distracted, much more crazy, much more mad, and you lose all your peace is lost in spite of chanting Hare Krishna. That is why do devotees have problems when they start chanting Hare Krishna? When you sit, you are trying to be peaceful. If you are busy acting, you are doing some service which is in the mode of passion, doesn't affect you so much. But the moment you sit and chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, that's when the passion nature bombards you, and you cannot be peaceful because there's so many things that you want to achieve in spirituality. You become achievers, and to that extent we become that much more difficult for us to really be peaceful. And it is explained here, you have to be in the mode of goodness to take the next step to spirituality. So it is a very, very important concept this Nagapatis are making, that still those living entities whose bodies are in the mode of goodness are especially dear to you. Why are they dear to you? I mean, why should they be dear to Krishna? There has to be a reason why somebody is dear to Krishna. Because Krishna understands that fact that this person is peaceful, that means he is self-controlled, sense-controlled, his mind is controlled. And Krishna loves Rishikena Rishikesha. That you can use, when the senses are serving Rishikesh, the master of the senses, they're completely controlled. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Rishika Damiya. To me, Rishikesha, Rishika Damiya, that you please control, like a chariot driver controls the reins of a crazy horse and makes it controlled. He says, similarly, my senses are going uncontrolled. Rishika Damiya, that you please, Damiya, make my senses controlled, so I can serve Rishikesh and be dear to you. Rishikesh Ananda. So that I can give Anand to Rishikesh. I can be a source of Ananda to Rishikesh by controlling my senses. What is Rishikesh Ananda? Is that the Lord finds so much pleasure in seeing devotees controlling their senses and offering their senses in the service of the Lord. That is Rishikesh Ananda. So we should, this verse is so important. And then, next, after that point that yes, all the people are very dear to you, those who are peaceful, the next Nagapatni is very, very scientific prayers they are making, that my dear Lord, you are the supreme peaceful person. It says that, yeah. Oh, supreme peaceful soul. Now please understand, the topic they want to drive, they want to really come to the point is that please forgive this person. Because ultimately that's the purpose. He said, you should therefore forgive our foolish husband who did not understand who you are. He did not understand who you are. So many times, when there is a street fight on the street, two people are fighting and one person through, you don't know who I am. And the third person intervenes. Hey, sorry sir, he didn't know who you are. You are a big bhai or a big gangster. He doesn't know who you are. Leave him. Chhod de usko. Forget him. So that same thing is Nagapatnis are doing. But this is the real perfection of that statement. I said, this guy didn't know who you are. So please forget him. When somebody says like that, he doesn't know who you are, you feel very nice. Oh, that means you know it, right? You know who I am. And somebody, many times, we go to the kitchen and somebody who is new, I say, hey, time ho gaya, prasad nahi hai, jao. Because he is following his rules. It happens and it should happen. I mean, the person should do his job. The time is up. And then, you happen to be a devotee who happens to be lingering around for many years. So you get that tag of being senior. And then somebody says, oh my God, this person talking to him like this. And then the person runs to him and says, Prabhuji, usko pata nahi aap kaun hai, Then he gives you a plate and you feel nice about it. At least he knows who I am. I am a senior devotee and I get the plate. In spite of the doors being locked, the person opens the door and gives you, from inside there's some special thing also, you get that also. So then you feel nice. But it is all perverted for everybody except for Krishna. This statement that he did not know who you are. You are a fallen soul, that's what you are. And you are an insignificant 10,000th tip of the hair, that's what you are. Only Krishna, when you say this to Krishna, he didn't know who you are. That is the perfection of this statement. Because yes, Krishna is supremely powerful. So Nagapatnis are very, very scientifically, very, very smartly deducing these two things, that two reasons, my dear Krishna, why you should forgive my husband. They prayed, not in a diplomatic way, but in a naturally flowing way. But of course, the ultimate purpose is, Krishna will love you, you are wonderful, please forgive my husband. What I'm saying, first thing is, Krishna, because you are a supreme peaceful person, you should forgive. Can you forgive somebody if you are not peaceful? Think about it. If you are angry, you can't forgive. He said, to hell with you. And you want to fight more. If somebody is stopping you, you want to fight more. Somebody takes you far away, that's why they make a distance. Well, they say that if you don't see a person, then the anger comes down. That's why, the only examples I find of anger is in trains, because I see so much of trains, this train fights. Two people just fighting and then they bow, boom, boom, boom. Fish fighting with each other. The third person comes like a referee, and then he takes one side, he takes on the other side. That person still wants to fight. He's still trying to, overpower the person who is trying to control. Because he is not peaceful. He is angry. In a mode of anger, in a mode of passion, you cannot forgive somebody, right? That is why, see the fantastic prayers of the Nagapatnis. They are first establishing the fact of the importance of being peaceful, to be in the mode of goodness for all the readers. And they're telling the readers then that, my dear readers, and they're telling Krishna also, that you are the supreme peaceful person. So that's why you should forgive. Because only in your mood of peacefulness can you forgive. So you should forgive Kaliya. And second thing is, he did not know who you are. So at least once ignorance should be forgiven. Second time you can't be ignorant. You can be ignorance once. Okay, pata nahi tha. Okay, forgiven. So they are saying very clearly, at least once a master should tolerate an offense committed by the child or the subject. O supreme peaceful soul, see very nicely they are addressing him. O supreme peaceful soul, Shanta Atman, Shanta Atma, that means you who are supremely peaceful, Shanta Atma. O supreme peaceful soul, not in this verse, in the verse 51, this is the word coming. He said, you should therefore forgive our foolish husband. They are accepting that he is foolish because he did not know who you are. So two reasons. Because you are peaceful, you should forgive. And second is, he did not know who you are, so you should forgive. So this is such a fantastic presentation of prayers by these Nagapatnis. So, how does it really apply to us? This particular understanding of forgiveness is much spoken about, but least practiced many a times. And it is such an important quality. It's such an important quality. So first of all, let us spend some time to understand what forgiveness is all about. What is forgiveness? We talk about forgiveness and we say that it is what is it? A Brahmana is understood by his act of forgiveness. Is that right? Chanakya Pandit says that? That you can judge a Brahmana by this quality of forgiveness. So such a very devout quality, Kshama. It's such a elevated quality for spiritual practice and in general for living. Such a very important quality. If you talk about the aspect of forgiveness is practiced in practically all religions of the world. It is not something only. Every religion talks about forgiveness. A very important quality. So what is forgiveness? So first, let us understand what forgiveness is not. Well, many a times we don't really understand what forgiveness is all about, and it's such a hodgepodge idea in our brains that we were so confused about forgiveness. Okay, what does it mean to forgive this person? They are forgiven. What does it really mean? Forgiveness does not mean, as I was just analyzing, it is not that we turn ourselves into punching bags so that others can continuously keep blowing us. Many times we said, forgive. We have understanding that you forgive, even before the offense is completed, you forgive. So what does it really mean practically? First, what it is not that you make yourself a punching bag like a person who is practicing boxing and boom, 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 keeps on boxing you every now and then. Or rather you become like a doormat that people walk over you and wipe their feet over you. That's not what forgiveness is about. Forgiveness is not that we feel that the person or people who hurt us should be allowed to continue. That is not forgiveness. Number one, first point. It is not forgiveness that we feel that people or persons or person or persons who hurt us should be allowed to continue hurting us. Number one. Number two, we feel that they have not done really so bad that at all. Sometimes when we discuss and in our emotions and in our confusion, actually you are not done so bad. And then we start the third thing, actually it is my fault. You have seen this? It starts with other person's faults, then we start discussing and in an emotion of forgiveness, they say, no, actually you're not done so bad. And actually, no, something, it is my fault, not your fault at all. And out of sentiments at that point in time, we talk all these emotional things, but the real feeling is not yet addressed. That pain is still there in our heart. But in a fit of emotion, many times we just say, no, actually it's my fault. That it is not that we forget the wrong things. We should forget it, no doubt. It is said that even before the offense is committed. But it is that we have to learn something from there. That's what I mean, not to forget the wrong that somebody has done. That we are totally free of pain. That when we say we are forgiven, that means I am completely free of pain. Let's be practical. We cannot be free of pain in a second. Okay, I forgive you. I am free of pain. No. Can we really do that? That is not forgiveness. You are not. It has pained you, no doubt. Let's be very honest and practical. Unless you are on a very, very elevated platform that you just forgive, like Haridas Thakur. Forgive. But it is not that we are free of pain. That it is not that we are ready to associate fully with that person now. Practically speaking. Is that I forgive you, so now let's again just start associating. That's not forgiveness. What is real forgiveness? This is what Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj writes. What forgiveness is not. These are the points he says. And then he says what actually forgiveness is all about. He beautifully explains. He said, we are not going to allow the person to hurt us by holding on to him. What he says holding on to him means? By keeping that anger with us. When you keep on holding that anger, as he explains, and we have heard it many times, that if we don't forgive, we are like carrying live burning charcoals in our hand, trying to throw it at the right time at the person as part of our revenge, because we are not forgiven that person. But by the till time you are carrying it, sometimes you are carrying it for 10, 20, 30, 40 years. The revenge, that anger. Who gets burned? You get burned yourself. So can you imagine the community of people who don't forgive? If in a community there are people who are not forgiven each other, it's like, I was just imagining, it's like everybody carrying invisible mashals in their hands, ready to just at the right time burn the other person. Because you have done hurt to me, I have not forgiven you, and everybody has somebody who has not hurt you, and human beings are bound to be imperfect. We are imperfect beings, so we are bound to do some mistakes, isn't it? So there's bound to be some offenses committed. But if we do not forgive, we are like carrying live charcoals or carrying live mashals. We are ready to burn every place and put the whole place into fire. The whole community is on fire with people not forgiving each other. We no longer want to be living in the past. What does it mean not to forgive? Just imagine, it's like we are constantly living in the past. If we don't move with time, we remain in the past, we become obsolete, is it not? That you have to move with time, they say. If people who do not forgive, what are they doing actually, if we analyze it? They are living in the past. What has happened in the past? They're living in there. Sometimes the past can be just 5 minutes back, or sometimes it can be 5 years or 10 years, 20 years. And we all have experienced that people do keep grudges. People do keep feelings in their heart for years together. Years and years together. The two countries, our neighbors, they have grudge for, even after 40, 50 years of independence, they still have grudge. They're still fighting, and I guess they will go on for centuries more. That grudge of feeling that the right thing didn't happen to me. Not forgiving. Just imagine the destruction that is happening, the amount of money that has been spent just because two nations are not ready to forgive each other. We are ready to live in the present by making healthy choices that are not clouded by past negative influences. So we are not ready to live in the past. We don't want to live in the past because living in the past makes us obsolete. We want to live in the present, and we do not want to live with any negative influences in our heart. We want to forgive and forget the whole thing. And we are ready to always be loving, not only to someone who acts favorably. Because if you are loving to somebody who is favorable, because who commits offenses to us? People who don't act favorably to us. And if you are loving to people who are favorable, that is good, but that doesn't in any way get the forgiveness aspect involved. And you are slowly what happens, the devotee, the more people commit offenses to him, he becomes alone in his life. Not him, not her, not her. I don't want to do anything with him. Do nothing to. In a matter of 10, 20 years, you have a whole group of large number of people who don't want to interact with because they have offended you and you are not forgiven. You become a loner. You become lonely in your life. And when you are lonely, what happens? You become a fantastic, right prey for Maya to destroy you. So how do we really forgive? Why should we really forgive? We've understood what is forgiveness. We understood what forgiveness is not. But how should we really, why should we really forgive? First reason, important reason, practically important reason. I would say the first reason is because it pleases Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It pleases Lord Nityananda Prabhu. Their life is all about forgiveness. Nityananda Prabhu, a whole life of forgiveness. The glorious pastime of Jagai Madhai is just a fantastic example of forgiveness. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's, what is that? In Kulyagram, what is it called? Offense is forgiven. What is it? Aparad Bhanjan Stali, right. The place where Mahaprabhu forgive all offenses of everybody. Mass offense destruction. Everybody was offense was forgiven. Mahaprabhu's life is that because he was teaching by example. You have to forgive people, otherwise, Nityananda Prabhu said, if you don't forgive him, then practically Chaitanya Mahaprabhu you have to kill everybody. Because everybody is somewhat like Jagai and Madhai. Forgiveness. Srila Prabhupada is all about forgiveness. So first, and good enough reason, a solid reason to really forgive, because it pleases Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Nityananda Prabhu and Srila Prabhupada. But sometimes a simple good reason doesn't really make sense to us. It's something more. Be a little practical. Pleasing is fine. Yes, I've been trying to please him to different ways. See something more. First, you feel better and you laugh more. I was just analyzing practically what it means. It said resolving negativities in your life allows just you to enjoy, isn't it? I was just thinking that you enjoy more and you laugh more. But if you're constantly having negativities in your life and not forgiving, you can't laugh. Just think of your situation. The day you have not forgiven somebody and you are just having a pressure, why did he do that to me? Can you laugh at jokes? You will just, but your mind is constantly, and somebody knows that you are in a bad mood, they crack jokes, but you can't smile. And laughter is a very, very important medicine. It's very important for your spiritual life. To make, when I say laughter, not just, this crazy jokes, this cheap jokes, I'm not talking about those jokes, but overall wholesome laughter, and that is born out of a complete positive mood of living. It is not, laughter doesn't come, nowadays people, you see in the mornings, and there's this laughing clubs, because they find it, laughing is so important, that they have this laughing club. You have gone to these laughing clubs? Once I was at Radha Govindji, we were all at Radha Govindji temple, if you remember those who were there, many, many years back. And on the back of Radha Govindji, and we were all chanting very intensely because, we were praying to Radha Govindji, Rupa Goswami, all intense prayers were coming out. And suddenly we started yelling, hoo, hoo, ha, ha, hoo, hoo, ha, ha. I said, what's this? What sort of, what? And then we saw there was a group of people who were doing this laughing thing, and there's different type of laughters that they do. And, my father is no more, but he also was part of a laughing club in his village. And when he came to my house, he was practicing because it's part of his schedule to laugh half an hour. So there's something was called Ravan Hattasya. How Ravan would laugh. So they just very, very, ha ha ha. They do that artificially. But That's on the laughing club side. But actually devotees need to love. You all agree we need to love? Right? And we all agree that if you're having negativities in your heart, you cannot love. So first thing is forgiveness on one's, if you are guilty or you are not resolved or you sustain the negativity, then you're not able to really having a positive life or positive thoughts in your mind. But to that extent, you are forgiving, to the extent you are much more positive. Number two, you feel much more healthier. The people who are stressed out, people who are not forgiving, because the body and the mind are very strongly connected. If the mind is disturbed, it definitely affects the body. So if your mind is, you just forgive the person, there's no negative in your heart, then you are quite a fit, healthy person. But the people who keep things in their mind, when I say you're mental, he constantly operates on a mental platform. He might look very peaceful, but his mind has constant things going on. And he's never happy. Even in devotees I've seen many times. Very, very mental. It's good to be mental, thinking about Krishna, but the negativities will destroy you. And the second thing, third thing, that I was analyzing that we always liked that people like us to be around with them. Right? We want people to like us. Not in an egoistic way, but it's not that when we go, people want to just, go to other place. We don't like to have that feeling. If you are positive, if you are in a mood of forgiveness, then people will like you to be around. Because this person is not very finicky about things. Are you getting it? It's not that this person is very finicky, that you have to be very careful when you talk to him, because the moment you say something which is not exactly what he wants to hear, he become angry and he will not forgive, and we don't want to be with such people. You experience something like this? But you are just happy-go-lucky, you are just forgiving some people. It's very, very useful. People will like to be with you. And when people like to be with you, you get association of devotees, which helps your Krishna consciousness. And there are many, many more reasons. But the one thing is that many times in the mood of being perfectionist, we become very, very negative. That where I want things like this only. In a community, when we are staying together, you can be perfectionist when you are doing things with yourself. But when you're doing things with a community, that's why many times perfectionists are people who are most miserable. Because they're constantly expecting perfection, and their level of perfection is so high that hardly anybody can reach. So they're always miserable. So better to be perfectionist for yourself. For others, we expect good standards, but for some reason they are not able to reach their standards. We don't really, get disturbed and miserable about the whole thing. This, on a practical level, this is what we experience, that it is so important to forgive a person. And I would like to end with, in 2 minutes, I came across a very, very amazing personality. A lady, a typical Maharashtrian lady, a very, very horrible past that she had. 10 years old, she was married to a person who was 35 years old. She became a mother at the age of 13, first child, age of 15, second child, age of 17, third child. When she was 4th time pregnant, all 3 girls, 4th time pregnant at the age of 20, she was kicked out by her husband when the husband was 45 years old. Kicked her out. Horrible life. She had nowhere to go. She was a pregnant lady. Kicked out. She didn't know where to go. A long story, to cut it short, you will hear it from some other people in a more elaborate way. But to cut the story short, she stayed in a cow shed. The cow gave her shelter. And she gave birth to the child in a cow shed. She had no money and she was young. All the negativities of the world, all the bad eyes were going to haunt her. She stayed in a crematorium just to safeguard herself. And she ate from the dough that people throw when the dead bodies are burned. They make these pins. What they would throw, she would cook, they use that dough, and on one of the matkas which they would throw, she would cook and eat there with a child. That was the type of austerity that she went through. Intense austerity. She grew, and she said, but now life is not worth living. I want to commit suicide. Enough of this life. There's no meaning to this life. She decided to go to a railway station, go on the tracks and commit suicide. She went with her child on the tracks. She saw old person, somebody just, in a very, very precarious situation. And said, now that I'm anyway going to commit suicide, let me help him before committing suicide. She helped, and she experienced some amazing pleasure in her heart of helping others. And she saw that, if you want to get rid of my pains, I have to help others. She went on to, start, I'm really cutting it short because we are short of time. She started a place where she would get street children and she would take care of them. She would collect donations by singing on the stations. She would sing. And she would raise money to take care of children. Not only her child, but more children. She had more children. She would take care of them. Over the years, she has been invited to 14 countries to speak. She is a typical Maharashtrian lady with a big red tika and the Nawari sari, even now, and a big pallu. And she speaks, and after speaking, she begs, and she has a real long pallu to beg. And people are so touched. You should hear the story in detail through somebody. I'm sure somebody will share with you all. So she begs. In one of the programs, after traveling to 14 countries, she was giving a lecture in Pune, in Maharashtra. And people were amazed to see what she has done, from what sort of trauma that she has gone through in her life, what sort of positivity that she had experienced. From the audience comes a person, an old man, and said, I am your husband. I am the person who kicked you out. She felt intense anger in the beginning. She overtook her anger, controlled her anger, and she said that a woman's life is a life of forgiveness. I forgive you. Come and stay in my ashram. I'll take care of you also. The husband, in spite, and because I thank you, she was saying, I thank you because of you, I'm traveling to 14 countries, not traveling to see sightseeing, but traveling to make people understand the glory of India, the glory of being a woman, the glory of womanhood. She was thanking her husband for that. Not only forgiving him, but thanking him and taking care of him. Now here is the lady, actually speaking, you might say, well, she's not practicing so much of, spirituality in one. She has to be spiritual, otherwise she can't be what she is. But if she can forgive a person who caused such trauma to her, and I found it very difficult for myself to forgive anybody in my life, because they have not done even a portion of the trauma what she has gone through. Forgive. That is forgiveness. So let us really deeply ponder over this aspect of forgiveness that these Nagapatnis are talking about. Is such an important concept. Jesus Christ, Haridas Thakur, oh Lord, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Haridas Thakur said, oh my Lord, forgive them. It's an important principle we Vaishnavas should deeply ponder about and think over to really be better devotees, and not just be, speaking about it, but, definitely you bless me that I can practice, and we pray that we all can practice this very, very important quality of forgiveness that has been mentioned. And, if Krishna doesn't forgive us, what is our hope? And Lord forgives them who forgives others. So if we really strictly follow this very, very important principle of forgiveness, then that is what I thought we can share and we can learn from these wonderful prayers of and how systematically they will convince Krishna, the Nagapatnis, they will convince Krishna. And in the next 2-3 verses, Krishna will be so happy with the Nagapatnis' prayers that Krishna will forgive him. At one condition, of course, he will set a condition that you have to get out of Jamuna. Only one condition, but he said, I forgive you. Why? Because of the powerful prayers of Nagapatnis, powerful devotion. So if Krishna, and all of the demons that Krishna killed, is all nothing but every day it was an act of forgiveness from Krishna's side. Krishna would forgive every demon. Putna, what to talk of forgiveness? He actually gave her a very great position. So we hear the stories, every story of Krishna is all about forgiveness. And I personally find it very, very, very rarely that I practice this quality of forgiveness. So that's something which was very inspiring for me to see that how these Dagapatis are convincing us that if we are practicing sense control, we will be peaceful, and by being peaceful, the natural outcome of being peaceful is that we will be forgiven. And if you are not able to forgive, then the reverse conclusion is true, that if you are not forgiving, that means you are not peaceful. That means your senses and your mind are not in control. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. I'm sorry for going quite over time. Hari Bol.